Let's get this party started. Get on your bikes if you're not already on. All right. So what is the workout going to do tonight? So I mentioned in my email that everything that you're going to do tonight only requires you to do it for 30 seconds. So that's kind of nice in a way. You're not going to have a huge amount of time in all of these, but of course I didn't mention how many of those 30 seconds in succession you're going to have to do. So that's going to be the part of tonight that's going to make this a little challenging. We're going to work on our cadence and our leg speed. We're going to end up doing, let's see, 12 sets of 30-second efforts that are all going to deal with cadence. Each of those are going to have you just doing a 30-second effort, and I'll explain it when we get there. And in succession, the first set, we're going to do 3 sets of 8. The second set, we're going to do 3 sets of 4. Gearing is going to play a role, and cadence is going to play a role. These are going to be kind of fun because you're going to see how you progress through each of these sets. And hopefully you can make each one, as always, look like the previous one. Because that's our goal. When we do similar efforts, we want to try to make the first one look just like the last one. So we'll keep getting our legs warmed up here a little bit longer. Let's go about 3 more minutes. Like I said earlier, you're going to be in your easiest gear, spinning your legs between 80 and 90. Just let the legs start to warm up a little bit. Then, as you know, we'll do a 5-minute set to get them going even more. And then we'll get into the main set for the night. Remember, a full water bottle, your fan, and your towel, because you will need those tonight. So I hope everybody enjoyed our cold weekend we had last week. I know a couple people tried to go out on Sunday, and the wind was just brutal. My sister-in-law, who lives in Iowa, she's a triathlete. She went out on Sunday. She said they got 40 minutes into their ride, and nobody could feel their fingers or their toes anymore. So they turned around and went home. So there's definitely that, which can happen. I think last week I talked a little bit about shoes, socks, riding in the winter. Of course, those are the hardest 2 things to keep warm, your hands and your feet. So if you haven't, if you like riding in the winter, one thing that I would advise you to actually purchase is a pair of winter cycling shoes. So they make them with a liner inside. They're very warm, and they actually do the job. And they're not too expensive either. They're relatively between probably $150 and $250. So they're not super expensive, but if you enjoy riding in the winter months, they're definitely worth the investment. And when you buy them, you're also going to think about trying them on with the socks that you'll wear. And then I like to have my winter shoes a little on the looser side, actually a bigger pair than what I typically would wear. because that extra circulation during the winter really helps to keep your feet warm. So if your shoes are too tight, it's not going to happen. They're actually going to get colder because the blood can't circulate. All right, so let's get started with our first set. This first one is going to be a build. We're going to start in our small ring, 23. So you may just shift down 2 harder gears. I want you holding a 90 cadence. Each minute, we're going to shift to 1 harder gear. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. If you can hold 90 or higher right now, you may do that. So that as you go through this, you're at least holding 90 in that last minute. This will also get the legs ready for what's to come in this very high cadence workout. So I think, just looking at the screen, most of you guys have a cadence sensor, so that'll be good. Of course, if you don't, you can always try to follow my leg speed. Settle in. Legs are moving. 3, 2, 1. 1 harder gear. Keep that cadence high. If you were holding 100, try to continue to hold that 100. Your goal as we shift through this is to try to hold the highest cadence possible in each of these gears so we can get the legs up and running and going. I used a different trainer downstairs in our house over the weekend. It felt a little smoother than the one I'm on here. I might have to switch. 3, 2, 1. Shifting down again. Another harder gear. Holding that cadence. Keeping it high. You might feel your heart rate coming up. That's okay. That's what we want to have happen. If your house is like our house, it's kind of cold in our house. We don't keep the heat up very high. So it's nice to actually feel the body warming up. Coming up on 3 minutes, we're going to do 5. 3, 2, 1. Shifting again. Another harder gear. Keeping the legs moving. Keeping that cadence higher than 90. It's getting a little harder to hold it at this point. That last minute, you might really feel yourself starting to sweat. That is if you're not already starting to sweat. Coming up on the last minute. 3, 2, last shift. Hold that cadence high. Relax the upper body. Nice circular motion. I'm just at the edge of 90. 89, 90. Focus on a circular motion. Use those abs to put your butt in the saddle properly. Ten to go. 5, 3, 2, 1. Woo! Easy gear. Spin the legs. All right. Here is how this is going to go. So we're going to do a cadence ladder, but it's going to be a consecutive cadence ladder. So what does that mean? That means no real rest in between each effort. So you're going to do 8 30-second efforts, one after the other, with no break in between. We're going to do 3 sets of them, but after each set, you will get some rest. So the first set, this is how it'll look. I'm going to give you a gear, and this is also going to be up to you in terms of the gearing. I'm going to start you with the gear, but if you feel like you need a little heavier, a little lighter, you may make that adjustment. But here's what I want you to remember. Sometimes going lighter is not necessarily the right thing. So we're going to do a 30-second effort, which is combined with 10 seconds at 100 cadence, then 110, then 120, then back to 100. So it's going to be really quick. It's going to go by fast. You're going to literally do 8 30-second efforts, 100 for 10 seconds, 110 for 10 seconds, 120 for 10 seconds. Now, if that seems a little extreme and you can't hold that high of a cadence based on your ability level, you may do 90, 100, and 110, or 80, 90, and 100. You make that determination. So here we go. I want everybody in their small ring and around your 21 or your 19. So that's either 3 harder gears or maybe 4 from where you are right now. And again, you're starting with 100 cadence for 10, 110 for 10, 120 for 10, then back to that 100 again. I'll keep you in the loop. Here we go, starting with 100. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Holding 100, even though you might be able to go faster. 110. First couple, you'll have to dial it in, start to feel what's right. Might have to dial a gearing, and 120. Come on. That's it, holding it. Back to 100. 100 is going to feel almost as if it's slow. 110. Really concentrate. 120. I want to see leg speed. Back to 100. Really use those abs. If you hold your abs in, that'll get the legs going. 110. Loose upper body. 120. Let's go. Legs are flying. I can hear it humming. Back to 100. Feel yourself, dial in that cadence. 110. Good body position. Little bend in the elbows. 120. Get tall in your torso. Back to 100. 2 more sets to go. $110. Actually, four more sets to go. 120. Nice flat feet. Nobody's pushing their heels down or pointing their toes. Back to 100. Now you're really starting to dial it in. I can feel it. 110. $120. You have the right gear, then 120 should be really good. Back to 100. 2 more 30-second efforts to go. $110. Keep them moving. 120. And back to 100. Last 30 seconds. $110. I see legs flying. That's what I want. 120. Come on. Really spin the legs. 3, 2, 1. 1 minute easy. Take a drink. 1 set down. 2 more sets to go. Now, as you take a rest, take a drink, towel off. Think about, was the gearing right? Did you feel like it was too easy or too hard? Now you know what it's all about. Make those adjustments for this second one. Leg speed. 90 will feel like nothing after doing these. Get ready. Think about what gear is going to work for you. If it's around that 19 or that 21, that's perfect. Find the gear. Here we go. 3, 2, back to 100. Make it perfect this time. 110. Also listen. You can hear yourself with the change of cadence. 120. Come on now. Back to 100. It's almost like listening to an airplane take off. 110. It's like revving the engine. 120. Light legs. Really use that core. Back to 100. Feel yourself almost get tall like this. You'll feel yourself, if you sit up, you'll feel the leg speed happen. 110. $120. Going for it, going for it. Back to 100. Woo, 100 feels good now. $110. If you have a heart rate monitor on, pay attention to what's happening. $120. Go legs, fast legs, fast legs, fast legs. Back to 100. 2 more minutes left for this set. 110. If you're constantly looking at your computer, that's good. 120. I love it when you guys concentrate on me. Back to 100. Now it's happening naturally. 110. $120. Really relaxed hands. Notice how my fingers are wiggling. Back to 100. 1 more minute left. $110. Feel yourself as if you could balance on your saddle without your hands on the bars. 120. That means you're sitting in the saddle properly. Back to 100. Last 30 seconds. $110. Come to the home stretch on this one. 120. Let's go. Three, two, one. Easy gear. Nice and easy. 1 minute. Woo! Good job. Now, if you're in a proper gear, you're going to feel that heart rate coming up. Because as we know, these high heart rates create a higher cadences create the higher heart rate. But here's the thing. If you're in the right gear, you're probably able to spin these legs a little more than putting a ton of effort into it. Take a drink. We have 2 down. 1 more of these to go. Then we're going to move on to the next set. All right, find your gear. What you like. Maybe this one, you go a little harder gear and see if you can hold the same cadences. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. 100. Go right to it. Legs feel good to start. 110. And 120. Really good. Keeping the shoulders down. Back to 100. You might be going faster than your computer can manage. 110. You can't keep up with your leg speed with the cadence monitor. 120. If you're bouncing, you need a harder gear. Back to 100. Legs are coming to life now. 110. $120. Keeping the upper body nice and still. Let the legs do the work. Back to 100. Ooh, yeah. 110. 100 feels like rest now. 120. Back to 100. 2 more minutes to go. Then you get a nice 2-minute rest. 110. 120. 100. Now it's a breeze. Motor memory on this one. 110. That's what we want. We want the body to know how to get here. 120. Back to 100. One final minute. Make this one perfect. 110. 120. 30 seconds, back to 100. Here we go. Concentrate. 110. 120. Come on now. 3, 2, 1. Easy gear. 2 minutes easy. Nice job on that. Woo. Now the legs know how to go fast. Take a drink. Towel off. All right. So, since you did so well for that one, we're going to do it again. But as you probably know, those of you that have been around long enough, this next one, we're going to do in our big ring. And that cadence build is going to go 90, 100, 110. You don't have to go to that big ring yet. Give yourself sufficient rest so you can get the leg speed back. Allow yourself to sit right now, if you can, at around 80 to 90. Of course, it's going to feel really slow after doing those leg speed. So we're only going to do 4 of these, not 8 in the big ring, but we're going to do 3 sets. So it's going to go a little faster, a little shorter effort, but being in your big ring, it will feel different. So that cadence will feel a lot different being in your big ring. So again, I'm going to give you a pretty easy gear, but if you need to make adjustments, you may do that. So when I count it down, you're going to go to your big ring, and somewhere around, again, you're 23, you're 21, maybe you're 19. If you want to go down to your 18, you may do that if you're strong enough to hold those cadences. So go ahead, up into your big ring, find that gear that you think you want to be in, 23, 21, 19, maybe even 17. Looks the same, 90, 100, 110. Every 10 seconds a change. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, starting at 90. It's also going to sound a little different. 100. Might be a little louder. That's okay. That just means you're working harder. 110. Come on. This is the hardest part. Back to 90. Now you're feeling the legs. Working a little harder. 100. 110. Come on, hold on to it. Don't give up. Back to 90. 100. And 110. Back to 90. Last 30 seconds. 100. I'm right on it. 110. Last 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Shift to maybe 2 harder gears before you go to your small ring. That's 1 set down. Woo! You can see how different that one is. Forces you to go a little harder. Heart rate really jacks up on this one because the gearing causes that. Take a drink. Remember the rule. Finish that bottle by the end. 2 more sets that look that way. So it's really only 2 minutes worth of work. All right, here we go. Finding that big ring. Finding that gear that you like. Starting off at 90. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Feel good and strong. 100. When you first start out, that first effort feels really great. 110. That's it. See progress. Back to 90. Lighten up your feet when you get to 90. 100. 110. Come on, concentrate. Be in the moment. Back to 90. 1 more minute. 100. Legs are spinning. 110. Let's go. Back to 90. Last 30 seconds. 100. Last 110 for this set. Spin hard and fast. Light feet. 3, 2, 1. Small ring. Easy. Take a drink. Towel off. One more to do. Great job, guys. Remember to keep the lightness in your feet. That's what's going to help you keep that leg speed high. And again, we start to get tired, get taller in that torso. You start to bend, get that turtle back, then you're not going to get enough power into those hip flexors. So notice getting tall and getting tight in your midsection. All right, we're going to do one more set, just like the last. 2 full minutes, that's all it is. 4 sets of 30. Find your big ring. Find that gear. 3, 2, 1, 90. 100. Lots of concentration on this one. 110. You almost feel like your bike's going to fly off the trainer. Back to 90. If that's what's happening, that's a good thing. 100. Nobody's looking at me. That's great. 110. That means you're holding that cadence, making sure you're getting to the right number. Back to 90. 1 more minute to go, guys. Come on, we got this. 100. 110. Fast legs, fast legs. Think about position. Last time to 90. 100. Here we go. 3, 2, 110. Let's go. Last 110. See if you can get to 120. 3, 2, 1. Easy gear. Nice job. Woo. Good one. 3 sets of that. 2 full minutes of nice and easy. Take a drink. Towel off. So the next effort is again going to be a 30-second one, just like I promised. But this one is going to be really different than what we just did. Kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum. You're going to do 30 seconds of standing in a gear that's going to be nice for you to do that in. And then you're actually going to get to sit for a minute. But when you sit for that minute, I want you to hold a super high cadence. And you're going to go to a gear that's going to allow you to do that. So you're going to have 30 seconds of standing, 1 minute of seated. We're doing this for 10 minutes. Then we'll cool down and we'll be done for the night. So you only have 1 more set to go. Seems like a long one. But you've already done a 15-minute set and a 7-minute set. So I think you guys can manage this last set. So when you're seated, you're going to be in your big ring in your 15 for that 30 seconds. Then when you sit back down, you're going to shift to your 23 and your small ring. So that's almost to the top. It's going to allow you to have a nice spin for that 1 minute. So everybody, big ring right now. Down to that 15. Remember, you should see 3 gears under that chain. If you want to go to your 14, you may, if you feel like the 15 is not enough. Here we go. 30 seconds standing. 3, 2, 1, up. Hands in the hoods. Find that nice, comfortable position. Hips are still. Upper body is nice and still. Arms are bent slightly. A little bit of that saddle between your legs. Hips are over your ankles. 3, 2, 1. Sitting down. Go to your small ring first. Shift up to that 23. Get the legs spinning. Let's go. I'm at 100. Actually 110 now. Combination here. Working on leg speed. Working on climbing strength. Keep the legs going. Holding it. Whatever cadence you select from the beginning, force yourself to stay there. 15 more seconds here. To that big ring. Down to that 15. Standing up. It's a real change from fast legs to a little slower and a harder gear. Get comfortable here. Feel yourself on top of the pedals, not in front of them. 3, 2, small ring up to that 23. So you're probably able to swipe 1, that's 3 gears, and maybe 1 more gear to get you where you want to go. Don't forget to use that swiping motion. Holding that nice high cadence. Remember, you're not pushing through the pedals. You're kind of letting the legs spin free. Ten more seconds. Find that big ring. Down to that 15. Standing up. 3 minutes in. Let's keep this going. Working all kinds of stuff here. Strength, leg speed, endurance, cardio, hitting them all. Three, 2, small ring. Swipe 3 gears and 1. 1 minute. Hopefully the cadence is the same as that first one. Take a deep breath. Get your body in the right place. Bending those elbows. Be in your bars. so your body can get used to that body position. You don't ride with no hands very often. A skill you should perfect, though. To that big ring, down to that 15, standing up. Come on now, let's go here. Keep the legs moving. Almost halfway through this set. 3, 2, sitting down. 5 minutes in, 5 minutes to go. 1 minute here. Spinning these legs out. If you need a drink, take it now. While you're seated, you have a chance to do it. If your cleats need replaced, you might feel a little movement under your feet. It's a good indicator of when to change your cleats. I can hear it on mine, so I know it's time. Up to that big ring, down to that 15, stand it up. "30 seconds here. Sliding down the backside now. Three, 2, sitting down. Small ring. Right to that gear. Right back to that high cadence. It's like clockwork now. No shoulders are up at your ears. Staying relaxed, focused. Only 3 minutes left. Then the workout's over. Focus, focus. Big ring. Down to that 15. Stand it up. If you feel like you go a little harder on this time, standing, then go for it. Heads are up. Nobody's looking at their wheel or their feet, except me because I'm looking at the clock. 3, 2, small ring. Back to that gear. 2 minutes left. You can feel the end of the workout coming your way. Legs are moving fast. So I'm going to trick you guys on this last one. Instead of 30 seconds standing, we're going to stand for a minute. Since it's the last one, so settle in. Once you get there, big ring. Find that 15. 3, 2, 1. Stand it up. 1 full minute. Let's do this. Finish strong. This is when it counts here at the end. When the body's tired, the mind can overcome. I give you the halfway. $30 to go. Come on now. You've done this whole workout. Finish up. $15 to go. 10 to go. 5, 3, 2. Woo! Nice job. Woo! Good one, guys. Nice, easy gear. Bring the cadence down. 80 to 90. Let the heart rate start to come down. Finish up what's in your bottle. Towel off. Let the body start to recover. So my story for the day is, that was a hard one to do stories while we were doing the main set. Over the weekend on Sunday, the Professional Triathlon Organization had its Daytona Championship. So what does that mean? So that meant they did a race, a triathlon, a swim, bike, run, around and in the Daytona Speedway, which was pretty cool, especially because I never knew that in the infield of the Speedway, there's a lake. I think it's called Lake Lloyd. So they actually did 2 laps in the lake. So they swam a mile, got out, swam another mile. I don't think it was even quite a mile. So they swam 2 laps. Then they came in. They had their bikes all set up in the infield. So typically, in Ironman distance triathlons, you are not permitted to draft. In Olympic distance triathlons, on the professional level, not on the age group level, you're permitted to draft. So the athletes that were competing in this race were really a combination of Ironman athletes and Olympic distance athletes. So of course, the biggest thing when it came to the bike was, were they going to be able to hold the 20-foot distance from one racer to the next as they went around the track? So what they did was they put cones at a 20-foot distance so that the racers knew that if the guy in front of them passed a cone, they should be passing a cone at about the same time. So that was really an interesting thing to watch. So they ended up doing 20 laps around the Speedway, which came out to be 50 some miles. I think every lap is 2.5 miles or something like that. And interestingly enough, they do have a penalty system. There was 1 woman who got a penalty and 2 guys got penalties. 2-minute penalty. So what happens is, when you come off the bike, you can decide if you want to take your 2-minute penalty then, or if you want to go run a little bit, take it in the middle, or if you want to do it on your last lap. So then after they did the bike, they ran 4 laps, 12 miles or so. And it was really, really fun to watch. Very competitive. Kind of came down to like the last lap in the men's race, and in the women's race, one of the women actually got ahead. The woman behind her, unfortunately, had a 2-minute penalty. If she hadn't gotten the penalty, more than likely it would have come down to a sprint finish between the 2 of them. So that was really exciting. So of course, we couldn't let this pass by without turning it into our own challenge. So between Randy and Marlon in the city, and myself, we all rode our bikes for 3 hours solid as the race from gun to finish. And of course, it was a competition between the boys to see who got more miles. And Marlon was on a kicker, Randy was on a kinetic trainer, and Marlon got 62 miles and Randy got 56 miles. So of course Randy's like, that's not true. You couldn't have got that many miles. That thing is way off. So it was really interesting and fun to have a challenge. Of course, we were texting each other the whole time. So if you ever want to do a challenge like that, it's always a good way to just motivate yourself to stay focused on something for a long period of time. All right. Great job tonight, everybody. That was a good one. A little combination, a little cadence, a little power, and you did fantastic. So let me open up the phone lines. Whew.